This audiobook reveals the ancient wisdom of the golden signal, the subtle language through which the universe speaks to you. As you listen, you'll learn to recognize the signs, synchronicities, and gentle nudges guiding you toward your highest path. Your awakening has already begun. Now is the moment to tune in. The Golden Signal. Introduction. The golden signal whispers to you through the unseen threads of destiny, speaking in coincidences that feel like chance yet carry profound meaning. When you notice repeating numbers, uncanny encounters, or invisible nudges guiding you toward certain paths, know this: the universe is acknowledging your awakened consciousness. This signal takes a unique shape for every soul. For some, it arrives as an inner knowing so certain it defies logic. For others, it appears as a sequence of events so perfectly ordered that chance could never have designed them. In all cases, it reveals the same eternal truth. Your awareness has tuned into its frequency. Imagine a radio searching for a station, static and fragments until clarity bursts forth. The broadcast was always there. What changed was your listening. So it is with the golden signal, patiently waiting for your vibration to align with its subtle message. This alignment is not forced. It unfolds in surrender and recognition. Like a flower that blooms effortlessly when the time is right, your consciousness opens naturally when you reach the resonance of truth. That these words touch you now is proof. You have arrived at this frequency. Understand this: the timing of the universe is never late. What seemed lost or inaccessible was simply waiting for your energy to meet the moment. The golden signal is not something to chase or create. It pulses eternally within, resonating at the frequency of your highest potential. Your task is simple. Tune in, quiet the inner static, and hear the universe as it always speaks. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1. Awakening the Frequency. Chapter 1. The Moment That Knocks. In a bustling coastal town, Lucille spent her days crafting elaborate plans, scheduling every moment toward her desired future. Each morning brought new lists, strategies, and deadlines, a fortress of control built against life's uncertainties. Yet the more she pushed, the more distant her dreams became. One autumn evening, exhausted from another day of forcing outcomes, Lucille paused by the harbor. For the first time in months, she simply stood still. As the sound of her racing thoughts subsided, a gentle urging emerged from within, a soft suggestion to visit the old bookstore she always passed but never entered. Inside, amidst towering shelves, she discovered a painting class happening in the back room. The instructor welcomed her warmly, as though expecting her arrival. That evening marked the beginning of Lucille's journey as an artist, a path she had never planned, but one that filled her heart with unexpected joy. Miles away, Walter faced disappointment when his carefully arranged business merger fell through. For months he had pushed against mounting obstacles, convinced this was his only path to success. The day the deal collapsed, he sat in his garden, finally releasing his grip on how things should be. In that space of surrender, a phone call came from an old colleague. A different opportunity awaited, one that aligned perfectly with his talents and values, requiring half the effort of his original plan. This venture succeeded beyond his wildest dreams, proving that the universe's timing far exceeded his own. These stories whisper an ageless truth. The golden signal arrives not through force, but through stillness. When you cease struggling against the current of life, you begin to feel its natural flow. What appears as delay often serves as divine protection, steering you toward greater harmony than your limited plans could devise. The universe operates on resonance, not resistance. Each no along your path serves as a redirect toward your highest good. The signal comes as a gentle knowing, a quiet certainty that transcends logic. It arrives as coincidence, synchronicity, and unexpected doorways opening precisely when you release your grip on how things must unfold. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths, allowing each exhale to carry away your plans and expectations. Place one hand over your heart and ask silently, "What is life guiding me toward now?" Remain in this receptive stillness for several minutes. Don't search for answers, let them find you. The response may come as a subtle feeling, a fleeting image, or a gentle knowing. This whispered guidance is your golden signal, the universe's tender knock at the door of your consciousness. Chapter 2. The Frequency Beneath Desire. In an ancient city veiled by morning mist, a young merchant named Clara lived each day in perpetual motion. From dawn until dusk, she pursued her ambitions with frantic energy, writing endless lists, making countless calls, rushing between meetings. Her desire for success burned bright, yet prosperity remained just beyond reach. The universe responds not to the volume of your actions, but to the clarity of your signal. Like a radio tower broadcasting into the night, your consciousness continuously emits frequencies of thought and feeling. When these frequencies become clouded by fear, doubt, or desperate striving, the signal distorts. The universe, ever faithful to the law of resonance, can only return to you the exact frequency you transmit. Clara's relentless pursuit created static in her field of manifestation. Each anxious thought, each moment of forcing and grasping, sent conflicting frequencies into the universal field. Though her lips spoke of abundance, her energy broadcast scarcity and fear. In contrast, there lived a humble potter named Amos, who understood the subtle art of clear transmission. Each morning before opening his workshop, he would sit quietly and allow himself to feel the joy of his desired success. He didn't strain or struggle. He simply basked in the feeling of achievement as naturally as one feels the warmth of the sun. As Amos worked with his clay, that feeling of fulfillment remained his constant companion. He didn't chase success. He inhabited it in his heart first. Soon, his pottery began attracting attention from prestigious collectors. Opportunities flowed to him effortlessly, as though the universe was simply matching his inner frequency. Your emotions are not mere responses to life. They are the broadcasting tower of your soul. Every feeling sends ripples through the fabric of reality, attracting experiences that match its frequency. When you transmit joy, peace, and gratitude, the universe must, by law, reflect these frequencies back to you in physical form. The secret lies not in perfecting your actions, but in purifying your signal. When your heart and mind align in clear, consistent frequency, the universe responds with mathematical precision. Your task is not to make things happen, but to maintain the frequency of their completion. Sacred practice. Find a peaceful space and settle into stillness. take 3 deep, centering breaths. Now, place your hand over your heart and shift your focus away from what you want to achieve. Instead, immerse yourself in how having your desire fulfilled would feel. Let this feeling of completion fill every cell of your body. Don't strain or force. Simply allow the natural joy of fulfillment to hum through your being. This pure emotional frequency, undiluted by doubt or fear, becomes your clearest transmission to the universe. Maintain this feeling for several minutes, knowing that this very vibration is now attracting its physical equivalent. Chapter 3. The Compass Inside Stillness. In a bustling marketplace, Rosie stood at a crossroads of choices, her mind tangled with endless possibilities. Each decision felt weighted with consequence, and she searched frantically for signs to guide her path. Days turned to weeks as she waited for dramatic signals, a shooting star, a chance encounter, a clear voice of direction. Yet the more desperately she sought answers, the more confused she became. You must understand that divine guidance speaks in whispers, not shouts. The universe's most profound messages arrive on the frequency of silence, beneath the static of an anxious mind. When you strain to hear direction, you often drown out the very wisdom you seek. Rosie discovered this truth one morning when, exhausted from seeking, she finally surrendered into stillness. In that quiet space, she felt something shift, like a compass needle settling naturally toward true north. The answers she had struggled to find now emerged with gentle clarity, as though they had been waiting patiently for her mental waters to still. This is the paradox of intuitive guidance. It calibrates itself in quiet. Your inner knowing requires no effort, only allowance. Like a pond that must settle for its surface to reflect the sky, your mind must calm for wisdom to rise clearly into view. Howard, a merchant in the eastern provinces, learned this lesson through his own journey. When faced with an important trade decision, he resisted his usual pattern of endless analysis. Instead, he retreated to his garden and sat in silence until he felt the subtle current of knowing stir within his chest. The guidance came not as words or visions, but as a peaceful certainty that pointed clearly in an unexpected direction. Following this quiet prompt led Howard to success far greater than his logical mind could have calculated. His willingness to trust that gentle inner nudge opened doors his strategic planning could never have anticipated. You see, stillness is not the absence of action. It is the foundation of aligned action. In the space between your thoughts lies a wisdom that surpasses all external counsel. This knowing speaks not through dramatic signs or loud declarations, but through the quiet certainty that blooms in a settled heart. Sacred practice. Before your next significant choice, pause and create a moment of sacred stillness. Let your breath slow until your mind grows quiet. Place your attention in the center of your chest and allow the question to rest there without straining for an answer. Notice the subtle feelings that arise. A gentle expansion for yes, a soft contraction for no. Trust that in this peaceful space, wisdom flows naturally. The answer will never arrive as a shout, but as a quiet knowing that feels both peaceful and precise. This is your inner compass calibrating to truth. Chapter 4. Signs are conversations. In a small cafe, Betty sat observing the world through skeptical eyes. Each morning she noticed the clock reading 11:11, dismissed it, then heard her mother's favorite song playing in a store, ignored it, until finally The number 333 appeared everywhere she looked. Her rational mind labeled these as mere coincidences, random occurrences without meaning. The universe speaks not in thunderous proclamations, but through the delicate dance of synchronized moments. What appears as chance to the sleeping mind reveals itself as conversation to the awakened spirit. These signs form the alphabet of divine communication, a language written in the ink of everyday life. Betty's resistance began to soften when she noticed how perfectly these random occurrences matched her inner state. In moments of doubt, encouraging messages appeared on billboards. When questioning her path, the same number sequence would catch her eye, like gentle nods of reassurance from the infinite. You see, synchronicity is not coincidence. It is correspondence. Every external event mirrors an internal frequency, creating a feedback loop between consciousness and creation. The universe constantly adjusts its signals to match your receptivity, fine-tuning its message until you recognize the conversation. Wilson, a businessman, discovered this truth during a period of transition. Initially dismissing repeated encounters with butterflies as meaningless, he began to notice how each sighting coincided with moments requiring transformation in his life. As his awareness expanded, these random events revealed themselves as precise responses to his unspoken questions. The key lies not in decoding these signs like complex puzzles, but in recognizing them as acknowledgments of your energy. They are not cryptic messages requiring interpretation, but confirmations of your alignment with universal intelligence. Each synchronicity forms a bridge between your conscious awareness and the invisible orchestration of life. When you see recurring patterns, whether numbers on a clock, animals crossing your path, or songs that speak directly to your heart, you're witnessing the universe reflecting your inner state back to you. These moments are not accidents. They are invitations to deeper awareness. Sacred practice. As signs appear in your daily experience, be they repeated numbers, meaningful songs, or striking coincidences, pause to acknowledge their presence. Simply smile and say inwardly, "I acknowledge." This recognition completes the circuit of communication, strengthening the frequency of connection between you and universal intelligence. By honoring these moments of synchronicity, you tune your awareness to their subtle language, allowing the conversation to deepen naturally. Chapter 5. The Pulse of Worthiness. In a modest apartment, Flora counted her meager savings once again. Despite working diligently and following manifestation practices, abundance seemed to flow everywhere except toward her. Each attempt to attract prosperity felt like throwing wishes into a void, none returning, none manifesting. The universe operates through resonance, not request. When you broadcast a signal of unworthiness, even the most earnest desires reflect that frequency. Flora's external circumstances mirrored an internal belief system that whispered, "Not for me, not yet, not enough." You see, manifestation requires more than desire. It demands energetic permission. Each time you doubt your worthiness, you create resistance in the very channel through which abundance flows. This resistance acts like static, distorting the clear signal of your intentions. Flora's breakthrough came when she stopped forcing manifestations and began examining her relationship with receiving. She discovered that beneath every failed attempt at abundance lay a subtle belief that she needed to earn her good, prove her worth, or suffer first. The universe responds not to your words, but to your vibration. When Vernon, a craftsman, shifted from desperately seeking success to simply loving himself as he was, his entire field of experience transformed. Contracts appeared, friendships deepened, and opportunities arose, not because he had changed his actions, but because he had changed his frequency. You need not convince the universe of your worth. It already knows. Your task is to align with this truth. Abundance flows naturally when you remove the artificial barriers of self-doubt. These barriers were never placed by the universe. They were created by beliefs that suggested you needed to be more, do more, or become more to deserve good. Think of worthiness not as something to achieve, but as your natural state to remember. Just as a flower needs no permission to bloom, you need no permission to prosper. Your existence itself is the only qualification required for abundance. When scarcity appears in your experience, recognize it not as truth, but as feedback, a reflection of where you've temporarily forgotten your intrinsic worth. The path to abundance lies not in pushing harder, but in releasing the resistance that blocks its natural flow. Sacred practice. Each morning, before the world's demands begin, sit quietly and affirm softly, "I allow good because I exist." Let these words settle into your being, not as a plea, but as a remembrance. This simple declaration realigns your energy with the natural state of abundance that has always been your birthright. The power lies not in the words themselves, but in the truth they awaken within you. Chapter 6. When Delay is Direction. Along a winding mountain path, Edith gazed at the setting sun, reflecting on the years that seemed to stretch between her and her dreams. Each passing season felt like time slipping away, until she understood a truth as ancient as the stones beneath her feet. What appears as delay often masks divine redirection. Time does not flow against you. It flows toward your highest good. When the universe seems to hold you in place, it is recalibrating your coordinates to align with grander possibilities than your limited vision could conceive. In the tapestry of existence, patience is not passive waiting. It is active faith in the precise orchestration of events. Each moment of seeming stillness pulses with purpose, rearranging circumstances at levels beyond your current perception. Consider Harold, a merchant who cursed his fortune when he missed the trading caravan he had prepared months to join. As he stood watching the dust settle on the horizon, his heart heavy with disappointment, a stranger approached, seeking guidance about local minerals. This chance encounter revealed Harold's true gift, the ability to discern precious stones that others overlooked. What appeared as a devastating delay unveiled itself as destiny's redirect toward his life's calling. The universe operates through precision, not punishment. When doors close, windows open, not as consolation prizes, but as portals to your authentic path. What you perceive as obstruction often serves as protection, steering you away from lesser destinations toward your highest potential. Your timeline exists in perfect order, even when it appears chaotic to your limited perspective. Those moments, when life seems to withhold or postpone, actually preserve the exact conditions necessary for your good to manifest in its fullest form. Every delay carries within it a hidden directive, a subtle course correction guiding you toward greater alignment. Your task is not to force the original timeline, but to trust the intelligence that orchestrates your path. sacred practice. In the silence of this moment, bring to mind one significant delay that once brought you frustration or doubt. Now, with the wisdom of retrospect, speak these words aloud. I bless this divine detour as perfect movement in my life's journey. Notice how peace floods your being as hindsight transforms into trust. Feel how this new perspective dissolves resistance to life's timing, allowing you to align with the natural flow of grace that has always guided your path. Chapter 7. The Gold Hidden in Contradiction. Through the mists of morning, Mabel knelt in her garden, hands pressed to soil made rich by her dedicated care. For months, she had tended each plant with perfect attention, the right amount of water, the ideal balance of nutrients, precise hours of sun. Yet abundance remained elusive, her efforts seemingly lost in a void of waiting. The mystery of manifestation lies not in doing everything right, but in surrendering to the wisdom that transcends right and wrong. Your precision serves a purpose beyond the visible result. It cultivates the soil of your consciousness, where true abundance takes root. When you stand at the crossroads of perfect action and delayed reception, you enter sacred ground. This apparent contradiction serves as the universe's refining fire, burning away the residue of control until pure faith remains. Success delays not to deny, but to distill your intention until it matches the frequency of grace. Arthur, a skilled craftsman, faced this divine paradox in his workshop. Despite mastering every technique, his creations felt hollow until the day confusion overwhelmed his expertise. In that moment of surrender, when he stopped forcing perfection and allowed his hands to move with uncertain wisdom, his work transformed. The very confusion he had resisted became the doorway to mastery beyond technique. This is the alchemy of spiritual law. Contradiction polishes the mirror of understanding until truth reflects clearly. The distance between effort and outcome creates space for divine intervention. In this space, your consciousness expands beyond the limitations of logic into the realm of infinite possibility. When perfect action meets delayed manifestation, you stand in the presence of higher wisdom. This apparent gap between cause and effect serves as an initiation, a sacred invitation to trust beyond evidence, to know beyond proof. The universe operates through paradox because truth exists beyond the realm of opposites. Your confusion in these moments signals not misalignment, but deepening alignment with forces greater than human understanding. Sacred practice. Whenever paradox appears in your path, when right action seems to yield wrong results, when clarity dissolves into confusion, breathe into it as though it were morning fog. Allow your breath to merge with the mystery, rather than attempting to dispel it. Let clarity condense naturally upon the surface of your understanding, instead of forcing sense from contradiction. The fog itself is the signal's glow, illuminating a truth too vast for immediate comprehension. In this gentle acceptance of mystery, your consciousness aligns with the infinite intelligence that guides all things toward their perfect expression. Chapter 8. The Signal in Emotion. In a small cottage by the sea, Hazel watched waves crash against rocks, each surge matching her inner turbulence. Day after day, sadness washed over her like the tide, persistent, powerful, unwelcome. She tried to push it away, to think positive thoughts, to deny its presence. Yet the more she resisted, the stronger it grew. Emotion speaks in the native tongue of the soul. When you label feelings as enemies to overcome, you miss their sacred transmissions. Each wave of feeling carries coded wisdom from the depths of your being to the shores of your awareness. The universe communicates through sensation before thought. Your emotions serve as living antennae, receiving signals about alignment from realms beyond logic. When sadness persists, it whispers of misalignment between your current path and your soul's knowing. Joy signals resonance with truth. Fear points to places where trust awaits cultivation. Hazel's transformation began the moment she stopped fighting her feelings and started listening to them. Her sadness, when finally heard, revealed itself as a compass pointing toward unexpressed gifts. The very emotion she had judged as weakness became her strength, guiding her toward authentic purpose. Calvin discovered this truth through an unexpected channel: resentment. For years he carried bitterness about his circumstances, until one day he asked his anger what it wanted to teach him. The answer arose with startling clarity. His resentment masked passionate conviction about how things could be better. By listening to his emotion rather than judging it, he transformed frustration into purpose, creating positive change in his community. Your feelings are not flaws in the system of manifestation. They are the system itself, translating universal intelligence into physical sensation. When emotion rises strongly, it carries a message encoded in feeling rather than words. The intensity of the feeling reflects not its negativity, but its importance. Every emotion serves as a tuning fork, helping you align with your highest path. Sadness shows where healing waits. Anger reveals where boundaries need setting. Joy confirms alignment with truth. Even the most challenging feelings contain golden wisdom when approached with curiosity rather than resistance. Sacred practice. When emotion stirs within you, pause and create sacred space for its message. Rather than rushing to change or suppress the feeling, ask gently, "What is this teaching me about my alignment?" Let the answer rise naturally, like bubbles from the depths of still water. Every feeling, when truly heard, reveals treasure buried beneath its surface. The wisdom may come as a subtle knowing, a clear thought, or a shift in perspective. Trust that the answer is always gold under rubble, waiting to be uncovered by your willingness to listen. Chapter 9. Flow only speaks in present tense. Along a winding mountain path, Pauline carried a weathered notebook filled with detailed plans. Each evening she would write elaborate visions of her future, mapping every step with meticulous precision. Yet the more she planned, the more elusive her dreams became, like trying to catch sunlight in a jar. The universe knows only one word: now. It is the singular language of creation, the sole frequency through which manifestation flows. When you project your energy into tomorrow, you speak in a tongue the present moment cannot understand. The power to create lies not in detailed blueprints of the future, but in the vibrant aliveness of this breath, this heartbeat, this instant of awareness. Your ability to manifest mirrors the depth of your presence. When thoughts constantly race toward tomorrow, they scatter the concentrated power of now into fragments of worry and anticipation. The universe responds not to your plans, but to your present state of being. It matches the frequency you emanate in this moment, not the one you hope to broadcast tomorrow. Pauline's transformation began when she set aside her notebook and notice the richness of her current experience, the crisp mountain air, the warmth of sunlight on her skin, the steady rhythm of her breath. As she relaxed into presence, opportunities naturally aligned with her desires, flowing with an ease her planning had never achieved. Jerome discovered this truth through an unexpected lesson. For years he had obsessed over his future success, constantly strategizing his next move. His breakthrough came during a simple morning walk when he stopped measuring the distance to his goals and instead felt the fullness of his current experience. In that moment of presence, he touched a deep sense of abundance that had always been available. Within days, opportunities he couldn't have planned began appearing, as if drawn to his newfound state of being. The present moment is not a stepping stone to your desires. It is the only place where desires can manifest. When you fully inhabit now, you speak the native language of creation. Your energy becomes coherent, focused, and magnetic. The future unfolds not through careful planning, but through deep presence. Each moment arrives complete, requiring nothing from the future to fulfill it. When you touch this truth, you align with the creative force that shapes reality. Your power to manifest lies not in what you will do, but in how fully you inhabit what is. Sacred practice. Pause and observe your surroundings, the textures, sounds, and sensations of this exact moment. Feel the weight of your body, the movement of your breath. Then, with gentle authority, speak these words: "This moment is complete." Let this declaration anchor you in the now, where the golden signal resonates with perfect clarity. In this presence, you become fluent in the language of creation itself. Chapter 10. Listening Without Fear. In a small mountain village, Annabelle spent her days second-guessing every inner whisper. When birds tapped at her window, she feared omens. When numbers repeated, she braced for warnings. Her intuition spoke constantly, but fear translated every message into threat. One morning, while gathering herbs in her garden, she noticed a path of white flowers she hadn't planted. Instead of worrying what they might portend, she simply admired their unexpected beauty. In that moment of non-resistance, clarity dawned. Nature had never meant to frighten her. The flowers weren't warnings. They were invitations to joy. The universe speaks in a language of gentle revelation, not harsh declaration. When you resist this truth, even the most loving guidance can feel threatening. Your inner wisdom never arrives as darkness. It flows as light touching light, recognition meeting recognition. Consider how a mother guides her child. She doesn't speak in riddles or threats. She offers clear direction wrapped in care. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, communicates with even greater tenderness. Every synchronicity, every intuitive nudge, every moment of knowing carries the signature of love. Leonard, a merchant who once interpreted every business setback as cosmic punishment, discovered this truth through stillness. Rather than fighting his circumstances, he began asking, "What if this is helping me?" Suddenly, what seemed like obstacles revealed themselves as redirections toward greater opportunity. His failed partnership led to an unexpected alliance that transformed his work. The delayed shipment connected him with suppliers who became lifelong friends. The language of higher guidance speaks only of expansion, never constriction. It whispers of possibility, not punishment. When you attune to this frequency of unconditional love, Even challenging messages reveal their gift of growth. The universe never sends omens of doom. It offers stepping stones toward your highest good. The wisdom of your inner voice holds the same loving intention. What you once perceived as warning signs were actually subtle redirections, steering you toward alignment. Every intuitive flash arrives as a friend bearing good news, even when that news suggests a change of course. Trust forms when you recognize that universal intelligence communicates through love's frequency. Like a compass pointing north, your intuition always orients toward your well-being. The message may suggest patience, action, or transformation, but its tone remains consistently supportive. Ancient practice. Sit in quiet and ask inwardly, "What would unconditional love advise me?" Let that voice define the tone you trust. In the quiet, this practice invites a surrender to an inner guide that is not swayed by fear, judgment, or obligation. Sitting and asking, "What would unconditional love advise me?" is a gentle way to shift the mind from reactive patterns to a higher resonance. It is not about intellectual reasoning or planning, but about tuning into a frequency that naturally aligns with patience, compassion, and clarity. As you listen, even subtle impulses, like softening tension in the shoulders or relaxing the jaw, become signals of the voice you trust, a voice that always leans toward what nurtures rather than harms. Allowing this inner counsel to define the tone of your day transforms decision-making into an act of reverence. Instead of measuring outcomes or judging circumstances, you calibrate to a vibration that feels expansive and steady. Choices begin to reflect generosity and presence rather than egoic insistence or conditioned reaction. Even mundane interactions gain a different quality: a smile, a pause before responding, or a quiet acknowledgement of someone else's humanity all carry the subtle influence of this loving guidance. Over time, this practice creates a ripple effect internally and externally. The more you habitually ask and follow the guidance of unconditional love, the less reactive fear and anxiety feel. You start to notice how small daily actions, offering patience in traffic, listening fully, or letting go of a grievance, become natural extensions of this practice. The world does not change immediately, but your experience of it shifts profoundly, as if tuning a musical instrument whose notes were always present but now resonate harmoniously with your heart. Part 2. Tuning the Receiver. Chapter 11. Clarity Before Motion. In a bustling marketplace, Beatrice darted from stall to stall, spreading seeds of her intentions everywhere but watching none take root. Her energy sparkled like scattered light, bright but diffuse. Each morning brought new enthusiasms. Each evening saw them fade. Though her spirit soared with possibility, her results remained as mist, visible but impossible to grasp. When you scatter your force in all directions, even the strongest intention dissipates. Energy, like light, gains power through focus. The universe responds not to the volume of your requests, but to their clarity and coherence. The difference between motion and momentum lies in direction. Motion alone creates activity without advancement, like a wheel spinning without ground beneath it. Momentum builds when energy aligns with purpose, when each action carries forward the force of the last. Franklin, a potter in a quiet valley, understood this principle through his craft. Where others rushed to produce quantity, he centered himself before each piece. His hands moved with deliberate grace, his attention fully present. Soon his works gained recognition not for their number but their quality. His success flowed not from speed but from the grounded clarity he brought to each moment. The law of attraction responds to the stability of your signal. Like a radio transmission, scattered frequencies create static, while a clear channel carries the message true and far. Your energy, when focused, becomes magnetic. It draws circumstances and opportunities that match its coherence. Enthusiasm holds power, but only when channeled. Think of a river. Its force becomes useful when directed through a mill wheel, not when flooding its banks. Your excitement serves you best when it flows through the structures of clear intention. The universe seeks to support your desires, but it requires a steady beacon to follow. When your energy scatters, the response scatters too. When your focus aligns, reality aligns with equal precision. This is not about dampening your spirit. It's about directing it with purpose. Success accelerates not through hurried action, but through aligned momentum. Each step, taken with clarity, builds upon the last. The path opens not to the one who runs fastest, but to the one who moves with certainty. Ancient practice. Before any task, declare, "I move from clarity, not urgency." Feel focus align your signal before action begins. This practice is a subtle yet powerful anchor for presence. By declaring, "I move from clarity, not urgency," you create a deliberate pause that interrupts habitual reactivity. Most of our actions, especially in a busy day, arise from a sense of pressure or scattered mental energy. Speaking this phrase aloud or inwardly signals to your nervous system that the priority is not speed or completion, but conscious direction. It is as if you are tuning an instrument before playing. The intention aligns your focus, and your mind and body respond in synchrony, ready to act with precision rather than haste. When you approach tasks from clarity, you invite awareness into each step. Decisions are filtered through attention rather than impulse, and even complex or mundane work gains a sense of ease. Your energy is not depleted by anxious effort. Instead, it flows toward what matters most in the moment. The declaration is not a rigid rule, but a gentle framework, a reminder that you are the architect of your attention, capable of prioritizing discernment over compulsion. Every task, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity to practice this calm, centered engagement. Repeatedly practicing this creates a deep neural imprint. Over time, your default mode shifts. The body and mind learn to recognize urgency as optional and clarity as accessible. Meetings, emails, chores, and creative projects are approached with measured precision, reducing mistakes and tension while amplifying efficiency and satisfaction. The ripple effect extends beyond productivity. Relationships, decision-making, and personal well-being subtly realign, reflecting a life where your actions stem from thoughtful presence rather than reactive momentum. Chapter 12. The Magnetic Observer. In a small coastal village, a young woman named Nora spent her days caught in cycles of worry and frustration. Each setback sparked a chain of negative thoughts, pulling her deeper into darkness. Yet one morning, as she watched waves roll onto shore, something shifted. Instead of fighting the thoughts, she simply observed them, like clouds passing overhead. The waves of negativity continued, but Nora's relationship to them transformed. She noticed how her judgment of these thoughts, labeling them as bad or wrong, only amplified their power. When she released the urge to resist, The thoughts began losing their grip naturally. Within the fabric of existence lies a profound truth. Observation itself is an agent of change. What you witness with acceptance begins to shift of its own accord. The act of seeing without judgment creates space for natural transformation. This principle operates at the deepest levels of consciousness, where energy responds to attention like plants turning toward sunlight. Your thoughts and experiences are not enemies to be conquered, but patterns to be witnessed. When you step back and observe without attempting to fix or change, you activate a higher law of consciousness. This neutral awareness acts as a solvent, gently dissolving what no longer serves. Consider Douglas, a merchant who struggled with recurring conflicts in his business dealings. Each dispute seemed to mirror the last, creating a pattern he couldn't break. One day, exhausted from fighting, he simply began watching these situations unfold without taking sides, even within himself. To his amazement, the very energy of the conflicts began to shift. His neutral presence created a field where solutions emerged naturally. The power of neutral observation extends beyond personal psychology into the very structure of reality. When you truly see something as it is, without the coloring of judgment or desire to change it, you engage the universe's own capacity for reordering. This is not passive resignation, but active allowing, a conscious choice to trust the intelligence inherent in all things. Your role is not to force transformation, but to hold space for it through the power of loving attention. Like a skilled gardener who knows that pulling harder doesn't make plants grow faster, you learn to trust the natural unfolding that occurs in the presence of patient awareness. Ancient wisdom practice. Watch your next challenge as though studying art. Let your gaze rest upon it with genuine curiosity, as you might observe brush strokes on a canvas or the play of light through stained glass. Notice how this quality of attention naturally dissolves the emotional charge, revealing the pure pattern beneath. In this space of neutral witnessing, watch how the situation begins to shift and reorganize itself, touched by the light of consciousness alone. Chapter 13. Receiving in Motion. A merchant named Sadie rushed through life, believing that constant motion equaled progress. Each morning she darted between tasks, fearing that stillness meant losing ground in the endless race towards success. Her mind whirled with schedules and deadlines, treating every pause as a dangerous indulgence. The universe speaks in paradox. The more Sadie pushed, the more resistance she encountered. Shipments arrived late, customers grew impatient, and opportunities slipped through her grasp like water through clenched fingers. Until one day, exhausted from fighting the current, she witnessed something remarkable at the marketplace. Amidst the bustle and chaos, an elderly potter worked at his wheel. Though his hands moved swiftly, his presence remained serene. His vessels emerged perfect not from force, but from harmony with the clay's natural motion. In that moment, Sadie glimpsed a profound truth. Receptivity requires no stillness, only alignment. The art of receiving flourishes in movement, just as a river accepts its course while flowing. When you resist the natural momentum of life, you create turbulence in your field of manifestation. Yet when you align with the current, even the busiest days become a dance of grace. Consider Chester, the master chef who once believed cooking required intense concentration and rigid control. His kitchen felt like a battlefield, until he learned to treat each motion as meditation. The chopping of vegetables, the stirring of sauces, the timing of dishes. Once he stopped fighting the natural chaos of his profession and began flowing with it, his restaurant transformed. Customers remarked not just on the improved food, but on the peaceful energy that seemed to season every dish. The secret lies not in stopping, but in allowing. Your hands may move while your spirit remains receptive. Your body may engage while your consciousness expands to embrace each moment. This is active receiving, the art of remaining open while in motion. The universe does not require your stillness to communicate. It speaks through action as clearly as through silence. Each movement can become a channel for grace when performed with awareness. The key is not to pause your life, but to infuse your motion with presence. When you resist busyness, you create tension in the field of infinite possibility. When you embrace it as another form of meditation, you transform routine into ritual. Every task becomes an opportunity to practice receptivity, every action a chance to align with universal flow. Practice. As you move through your day, imagine each breath saying yes to what arises. Let your daily activities become your ceremony. The simple act of washing dishes, walking to work, or answering emails can transform into sacred practice when approached with conscious allowing. Your everyday becomes ceremony. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Whisper Behind the Noise. In the bustling marketplace, a merchant named Lydia found herself embroiled in a heated dispute over prices with a customer. Their voices rose, joining the cacophony of haggling, children playing, and cartwheels creaking on cobblestones. Yet in the midst of this clash, something extraordinary occurred. As her anger peaked, a crystalline understanding cut through the noise like sunlight through storm clouds. The louder she argued, the further she drifted from truth. This realization swept through her with such clarity that she fell silent mid-sentence. The universe's wisdom persists regardless of external chaos. Its signal never weakens. Only our reception grows clouded by emotional static. When Lydia stopped fighting the noise, she heard the guidance that had been present all along. The highest truths thread themselves through every moment, whispering beneath the surface of ordinary life. They echo in city streets and quiet valleys alike, for they emanate not from outside but from within. Your inner knowing remains constant, regardless of outer turbulence. Consider Eugene, whose revelation came during rush-hour traffic. Horns blared and engines roared as frustration mounted around him. Yet, when he ceased resisting the chaos, he detected a steady tone beneath the discord, the same peaceful frequency that pervades all existence. This discovery transformed his daily commute from ordeal to opportunity. The universe speaks in all circumstances, not just in silence. Its messages weave through every experience, proving their persistence through contrast. When you attune yourself to this underlying frequency, even discord becomes harmony. The key lies not in escaping noise, but in recognizing that truth penetrates all sounds. Your inner guidance system functions perfectly in any environment. Like a radio signal broadcasting continuously, it requires only your willingness to tune in. The clamor of daily life cannot drown this transmission. it can only temporarily distract you from receiving it. Each moment contains revelation, whether wrapped in chaos or calm. When you trust this principle, you free yourself from seeking perfect conditions for insight. The wisdom you seek pulses steadily beneath every situation, every conversation, every challenge. The noise of life is not an obstacle to overcome, but a canvas upon which truth paints its patterns. By embracing rather than resisting sound, you discover that guidance never ceases. It simply adopts different forms. Your task is not to silence the world, but to sharpen your perception of what persists beneath its surface. Practice. When noise feels overwhelming, listen for the calm tone underneath. It is always there, humming gold through commotion. Chapter 15. Receiving without asking. In the bustling market square, Pearl spent years lighting candles, chanting prayers, and desperately seeking signs from above. Each morning she would awaken with a heaviness in her heart, wondering if today would finally bring the abundance she craved. Her petitions grew more elaborate, her rituals more complex, until exhaustion settled into her bones. Then one morning, as she prepared her usual desperate supplications, a strange peace washed over her. Instead of begging, she simply smiled and whispered, "Thank you for what approaches." The shift was subtle, yet profound. Rather than reaching outward with need, she began radiating inward with certainty. The universe responds not to volume, but to vibration. When you cease the endless asking and settle into quiet knowing, you activate an ancient law of creation, the law of magnetic expectation. Your certainty becomes a beacon far more powerful than any plea. Consider how the sun never begs the flowers to grow. Its mere presence, steady and assured, draws forth life from the soil. So too does your calm expectation draw forth manifestation from the field of infinite possibility. Curtis discovered this truth quite by accident. After years of aggressive goal-setting and forceful affirmations, he found himself too tired to continue his usual manifesting routines. Instead, he simply began treating abundance as inevitable, like gravity or the sunrise. Within weeks, unexpected opportunities appeared. A forgotten investment matured, a chance meeting led to a dream job, an old debt was unexpectedly repaid. The universe's response quickens not through the intensity of your request, but through the stability of your expectation. When you shift from begging to knowing, from pleading to allowing, you alter the very frequency of your relationship with creation. Think of a magnet. It doesn't strain or struggle to attract metal. Its mere nature creates an invisible field of attraction. Your certainty functions the same way. When you expect grace as naturally as you expect dawn, you become a human magnet for miracles. The art lies not in asking harder, but in receiving easier. Let your worthiness be as obvious as breathing. Let your abundance feel as natural as seasons changing. The universe's yes was always there. It simply awaited your readiness to receive it. Practice. Find a quiet moment and whisper softly, "Everything good already knows my name." Feel solutions approaching like familiar friends. Notice how this gentle certainty creates an opening that no amount of pleading could achieve. Chapter 16. Translation of Light. In the quiet hours before dawn, Ella stood before her blank canvas, paintbrush hovering. She had learned long ago to silence her mind's chatter and allow her hand to move before thought could interfere. As colors flowed and shapes emerged, She recognized a truth that transcended explanation. Inspiration speaks first in pure vibration, before words can form to describe it. The universe communicates in frequencies of light, pulses of pure knowing that arrive complete yet wordless. These frequencies carry wisdom that exists beyond the realm of language, waiting to be translated through your natural state of being. When you attune to this vibrational conversation, creation flows without the interference of doubt or analysis. Ernest, a brilliant inventor, discovered this same principle in his workshop. Rather than forcing his mind to generate ideas, he learned to rest in receptive awareness. One morning, a complete solution appeared in his consciousness, not as words or technical specifications, but as a unified flash of understanding. Without questioning or hesitating, he immediately began building. The resulting device worked perfectly, though he could not have explained its workings until after it was complete. This is the way of vibrational creation. The universe does not require you to understand its messages intellectually before acting on them. In fact, attempting to analyze divine inspiration often dims its brilliance. Your role is not to question or decode, but to trust and translate. When inspiration arrives, it comes as a complete transmission, a package of light containing all you need to know. The ancient wisdom traditions teach that creation existed first as pure vibration, before manifesting in form. Your creative force follows this same pattern. Ideas arrive first as resonance, as feeling, as knowing beyond words. By honoring this pre-verbal stage and acting from pure inspiration, you align with the original creative force of the universe itself. Your intuitive wisdom speaks this language of light fluently. It understands meanings that transcend definition, truths that exist before explanation. When you trust this wisdom enough to act before analysis, you become a clear channel for creation. The universe flows through you unobstructed, translating divine inspiration into earthly form. Practice. When inspiration stirs within you, resist the urge to define or understand it first. Simply begin. Let your hands move, your voice speak, your feet dance, whatever form of expression calls to you. Trust that the light knows its own language. Move with it, create with it, and watch as meaning naturally emerges through your actions. The understanding will follow the flow, just as form follows vibration. Your role is not to direct the light, but to let it direct you. Chapter 17. Encoded in Every Day. In an ancient village, Virginia spent her days yearning for extraordinary signs, hoping to witness miracles and grand revelations. She searched mountain peaks and temple ruins, convinced that spiritual messages must arrive with thunder and lightning. Yet as months passed, her heart grew heavy with disappointment. The wisdom of simplicity reveals itself in unexpected places. What Virginia failed to understand was that the universe speaks most clearly through life's humble moments. Every dish dried, every floor swept, every garden tended holds within it the pulse of divine order. These seemingly mundane acts are not barriers to enlightenment. They are its very gateway. The sacred exists not in separation from daily life, but in complete union with it. When you wash a cup with full presence, you participate in the eternal dance of purification. When you fold clothes with reverence, you practice the art of creating order from chaos. These small acts contain the same spiritual DNA as the grandest rituals. George discovered this truth while washing dishes one evening. Initially, He approached the task with resistance, viewing it as an obstacle between himself and meditation. But as warm water flowed over his hands, he noticed how light played on soap bubbles, each one a miniature universe. The steady rhythm of cleaning became his mantra, and the simple movement of cloth against porcelain transformed into sacred geometry. In that moment, George realized that enlightenment wasn't waiting in some far-off monastery. It was alive in his kitchen sink. His awareness shifted from seeking to receiving, and suddenly every dish revealed itself as an altar, every moment of service a prayer. This is the hidden teaching. Divinity threads itself through every aspect of existence, requiring only your recognition to become visible. The universe doesn't reserve its signals for mountaintops and temples. It broadcasts continuously through the symphony of ordinary moments. What appears as routine contains revolution. Each repetitive task offers a doorway to higher consciousness when approached with reverence. The simple act of sweeping becomes a blessing of space. Cooking transforms into alchemy, and folding laundry practices the art of creating order in chaos. Ancient practice of sacred service. Choose one routine task you typically rush through or resist. As you begin, bow slightly to acknowledge its hidden sanctity. Move slowly, with full attention to each motion. Feel the temperature of water, the texture of surfaces, the play of light and shadow. Let the natural rhythm of the task become your meditation. Notice how the ordinary begins to shimmer with previously unseen significance. This is not about elevating the task. It's about recognizing the elevation that was always there, waiting for your awareness to align with its frequency. Chapter 18. Releasing Static. In a bustling marketplace, Irene stood behind her stall, her heart heavy with past disappointments. Though customers praised her intricate tapestries, she could not hear their admiration through the static of old wounds. Each compliment filtered through memories of those who had once dismissed her craft, turning sweet words bitter on her tongue. The universe speaks in frequencies of joy, but reception depends on the clarity of your inner instrument. When resentment accumulates, it creates interference, like dust gathering on a mirror, dimming reflection. Your natural state is one of perfect reception, yet holding on to past hurts disrupts this divine circuitry. Consider how a radio must be precisely tuned to receive its intended station. Similarly, your consciousness requires alignment to receive life's golden signals. Bitterness acts as spiritual static, drowning out the whispers of opportunity and guidance that constantly surround you. Patrick discovered this truth after carrying the weight of betrayal for years. His business partner's deception had left him guarding against trust, filtering every interaction through suspicion. Yet one morning, exhausted by the burden, he simply released his grip on grievance. In that moment of surrender, the fog lifted. Within days, synchronicities appeared. A chance meeting led to a prosperous partnership, and doors long stuck began to swing open effortlessly. His story illuminates an eternal principle. Forgiveness is not weakness, but profound physics. When you clear emotional interference, you restore your natural frequency. The universe's abundance flows not because circumstances change, but because your reception improves. Irene discovered this when she finally allowed herself to let go. As her heart softened, customers began sharing stories of how her work touched their lives deeply. The very appreciation she couldn't perceive before now flowed freely, not because it hadn't existed, but because she could finally receive it. Life's messages travel on waves of peace. When you release the static of stored pain, clarity returns naturally. Like a pond settling after stirred waters becomes still. Your inner antenna realigns with joy's frequency the moment you stop tuning to past discord. Ancient practice of signal clearing. Find a quiet space and settle comfortably. Identify one frustration that clouds your reception, one piece of static interfering with your peace. Speak it aloud clearly, naming it just once. Then exhale fully, imagining this breath carrying the weight of that resentment out of your body. Feel the space it occupied now filling with clear golden light. Notice how the absence of that static creates room for new signals to emerge. Your natural state of reception has been restored. Chapter 19. Language of Breath. In a sunlit garden, Josephine noticed her anxious thoughts matched her shallow breathing. For years she had rushed through life, her breath as hurried as her mind, until one moment of awareness changed everything. As her lungs filled deeply with morning air, she felt her consciousness expand, like ripples spreading across still water. Your breath holds the key to vibrational mastery. Each inhalation and exhalation creates a rhythm that either aligns with or disrupts universal frequency. When breathing becomes unconscious, thoughts scatter like leaves in wind. Yet when you breathe with intention, you tune your entire being to harmony's wavelength. The ancient ones understood that breath is more than mere air. It is the bridge between physical form and cosmic energy. Each breath pattern generates its own frequency, affecting not only your body but the electromagnetic field that attracts or repels life's possibilities. Claude discovered this truth during his morning walks. After years of financial struggle, he began matching his breath to the rhythm of sunrise. 4 counts in, slight pause, 6 counts out, a pattern that calmed his nervous system and cleared his mind. Within weeks, his perception shifted. Opportunities he had missed before became visible. Resources flowed more easily, not because the world changed, but because his inner frequency found resonance with abundance. His experience reveals the subtle science of breath. Your respiratory rhythm creates a measurable field that influences how energy moves through and around you. Like a tuning fork adjusting to perfect pitch, conscious breathing allows your system to vibrate in harmony with what you seek to attract. Josephine's transformation deepened as she learned to breathe with purpose. Each mindful breath dissolved layers of resistance she didn't know she carried. Her thoughts naturally clarified, and with them, her ability to receive life's signals strengthened. She found herself making decisions from inspiration rather than anxiety, attracting circumstances that matched her newly harmonized state. The wisdom of breath reveals itself in stillness. When you breathe consciously, you enter the frequency of presence, where clarity dwells and manifestation begins. Your breath becomes the golden thread connecting intention to reality. Sacred breathing practice. Find a comfortable position where your spine rises naturally. Let your shoulders soften as you bring attention to your breath. Begin the ancient rhythm of alignment. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts, feeling golden light fill your being. Pause for 1 beat, holding this luminous energy. Then exhale for 6 counts, allowing this radiance to expand beyond your form. With each cycle, imagine golden mist filling your awareness, tuning your frequency to perfect clarity. This is the breath that bridges worlds, the rhythm that aligns inner vibration with universal abundance. Chapter 20. The Golden Pause. In a small village, Harriet devoted herself to mastering spiritual laws with fierce determination. Day after day, she practiced manifestation techniques, repeated affirmations, and visualized her desires. Yet despite her endless efforts, her dreams remained distant mirages, shimmering always beyond reach. One afternoon, exhausted from striving, she sat beneath an ancient oak tree. As her restless mind gradually settled, she noticed something extraordinary. In the space between her thoughts, a golden warmth began to bloom. The more she relaxed into this interval of silence, the clearer her inner guidance became. The universe speaks in the language of stillness. Between each thought lies a sacred doorway, a threshold where divine intelligence flows unobstructed by mental noise. This interval holds more power than 1,000 affirmations spoken in haste. When you cease the constant push toward tomorrow, you enter the realm where manifestation truly occurs. The space between breaths contains more wisdom than years of seeking. This precious pause, this holy hesitation, allows the higher frequencies to align with your being. In the village marketplace, Nelson discovered this truth through an unexpected encounter. Each morning he would rush to secure the finest produce for his restaurant, but one day a delay forced him to wait. In that imposed stillness, he struck up a conversation with a stranger who later became his most valuable business partner. The pause he initially resisted delivered exactly what he needed. The interval between desire and fulfillment serves as sacred incubation. Just as a seed requires darkness before it can sprout, your intentions gather power in apparent stillness. What appears as delay often masks divine timing, the perfect orchestration of circumstances beyond your current vision. When you honor the pause, you allow the universe to arrange details far more elegant than your mind could plan. This is not passive waiting, but active reception, a state of alert stillness where wisdom can find you. The most profound shifts occur not in constant motion, but in the spaces between. Here, in the fertile void, your intentions crystallize into their purest form. The pause is not empty, it radiates with potential, humming with the frequency of becoming. Practice. Before reacting, allow 3 breaths of hush. That golden pause lets wisdom lead ahead of impulse. Part 3. Transmission of Mastery. Chapter 21. The Signal That Calls Others. A merchant named Opal walked the bustling marketplace each morning, setting up her small stall of fragrant spices. Unlike other vendors who called out their wares, she maintained a peaceful silence, arranging her goods with mindful attention. Soon, she noticed something peculiar. People began lingering near her space, sharing their troubles unprompted. A woman with worried eyes spoke of her sick child. A young man confessed his fears about an upcoming journey. Even the usually stern tax collector paused to unburden his heart. Opal had offered no invitation, yet they came, drawn to the quiet sanctuary of her presence. The universal law reveals itself in such moments of magnetism. When you align with the frequency of peace, you become a beacon that others recognize, even if they cannot name what draws them near. Your state of being broadcasts more powerfully than any words you might speak. This truth manifested clearly through Hubert, a humble clerk in a noisy office. While others complained about workplace tension, he simply maintained his inner equilibrium. He never preached about positivity or suggested changes. Yet gradually, the atmosphere around his desk transformed. Co-workers unconsciously lowered their voices when passing. They began taking deeper breaths, shoulders relaxing as they approached his space. Without a single conversation about stress reduction, the entire floor's energy shifted. Your vibration speaks first, before you enter a room, before you open your mouth, before you take any action. Your frequency has already made an announcement. When you cultivate inner harmony, it radiates outward like ripples on still water, touching everything within reach. This is not about trying to influence others or forcing change. It is simply the natural law of resonance at work. A tuning fork struck in a room full of other tuning forks will cause those of matching frequency to hum in response. No effort required, only alignment. The universe operates through this subtle language of vibration. Your task is not to push or pull, but to tune yourself to the frequency of peace. Then watch as life responds accordingly, as people find themselves inexplicably drawn to your calm, as situations naturally reorganize themselves around your centeredness. Ancient practice. Before entering any space, whether a room, building, or gathering, pause and envision golden light emanating from your heart. Let it expand outward, filling the space before you even step inside. There is no need to direct this light or control its effects. Simply allow it to radiate naturally, knowing that harmony recognizes harmony. Your presence itself becomes an unspoken invitation for others to remember their own inner peace. Chapter 22. The Gift of Being Seen. In the sacred halls of an ancient temple, Agnes spent years perfecting her dance movements, hoping to attract the attention of master teachers. Each morning she would practice elaborate routines, adding increasingly complex flourishes to catch wandering eyes. Yet despite her technical excellence, she remained unseen among the sea of aspirants. One dawn, exhausted from striving, Agnes simply closed her eyes and moved as her heart guided her. In that moment of surrender, her movements became water, her breath became wind. She danced not to be witnessed, but because the music of her soul demanded expression. When she opened her eyes, she found the temple's most revered master, watching her with tears streaming down his face. The universe speaks through authenticity. When you release the need to be seen, you become truly visible. Your natural frequency, unaltered by the desire for approval, radiates with a power that no performed gesture can match. This is the law of spiritual magnetism. Truth attracts witness. Floyd, a merchant in a bustling marketplace, spent years crafting elaborate sales pitches and chasing customers. His shop remained quiet until the day his supplies ran short, forcing him to simply share his genuine passion for his craft with the few who entered. To his amazement, word spread of the honest craftsman who spoke from the heart. Soon his small shop could barely contain the crowds drawn to his authentic presence. The signal that calls others needs no amplification. Like a flower releasing its fragrance, your inner truth naturally draws those meant to experience it. Every attempt to enhance or modify your natural frequency actually diminishes its power. The universe responds not to the volume of your broadcast, but to its purity. When you align with your genuine nature, a golden light emanates from your being without effort. This light speaks in a language beyond words. It whispers to the souls, ready to receive its message. You need not shout your wisdom or wave your gifts like banners. The right eyes will find you when you simply allow your inner radiance to shine unfiltered. Practice. Instead of trying to impress, focus on expressing. Whisper, "Let my light speak honestly." The right eyes will find it. Chapter 23. Time responds to you. A seamstress named Loretta noticed something peculiar about her workdays. When anxiety gripped her heart over looming deadlines, time seemed to collapse like a closing fan, leaving her breathless and behind. Yet on days when her needle moved with joy, minutes stretched like golden threads, accommodating every stitch with grace. Time is not the rigid ruler we imagine. It flows like water, expanding and contracting in response to the vessel of our consciousness. Your emotional state shapes the very fabric of temporal experience, bending minutes to match your inner rhythm. The universe operates beyond mechanical clocks. Within its infinite wisdom lies a temporal elasticity that responds to the frequency of your being. When fear constricts your energy, time appears to shrink. When peace expands your awareness, moments unfold with abundant spaciousness. Walter, a potter in a small village, discovered this truth through his craft. For years, he raced against time, counting the pieces he could complete before sunset. His workshop felt like a prison of urgency, until the day he chose to simply enjoy the feel of clay beneath his fingers. To his amazement, he completed twice the work with half the effort. Joy had altered time itself. This is not mere perception, it is metaphysical law. Your emotional vibration commands the flow of time just as surely as the moon commands the tides. When you resist the present moment, you create friction that burns through hours like dry leaves. When you align with the natural rhythm of your spirit, time becomes your ally, expanding to embrace your needs. The ancient ones understood this mystery. They knew that time was not a tyrant to be battled, but a divine servant responding to the master frequency of consciousness. Your relationship with time reflects your relationship with the infinite. Every moment carries the potential for expansion when met with peaceful awareness. Consider how a single minute can contain an eternity of beauty or vanish in a blink of worry. This is not illusion. It is evidence of your creative power. The universe measures experience not in seconds, but in resonance. Time flows according to the music of your heart. Practice. When rushed, slow your breathing and affirm, "Time serves my peace." Seconds stretch to fit serenity. Chapter 24. The Bridge of Faith. In a remote mountain village lived a woman named Ida who stood paralyzed before life's crossroads. Each unknown path ahead seemed to stretch into endless fog, and she remained rooted in familiar ground, waiting for certainty to appear before taking a step. The universe speaks through movement, not hesitation. When you pause before an uncertain path, waiting for evidence before proceeding, you misunderstand the nature of creation. Faith is not blind stepping. It is conscious motion that builds its own bridge. Like water that shapes the rock it flows over, faith carves reality through the act of moving forward. Your willingness to proceed without guarantees generates the very substance of manifestation. This is the hidden mechanism of all creation. Movement precedes matter. Gerald, a merchant traveling ancient trade routes, discovered this truth during a treacherous journey. Where others waited for proven paths, He learned to trust the invisible support beneath each step. His gratitude for safe passage actually created it, transforming fear into foundation. The universe responds not to what you see, but to how you move. When you step forward in trust, energy rushes to support your motion. This is why faith appears magical to those who observe its effects. It operates on planes beyond physical sight. Your next step activates forces that were dormant during hesitation. Each movement forward, however small, sends ripples through the fabric of possibility. The universe delights in motion. It answers action with evidence, not the other way around. Faith is not the absence of doubt, but the presence of movement despite it. It is the knowing that your motion itself generates the path. When you understand this, every uncertain moment becomes an invitation to create through conscious stepping. The ancients taught that faith was not belief but practice, the art of moving as if support were already present. They knew that the act of crossing builds the bridge. Your trust is not naive. It is nuclear, splitting atoms of possibility into new realities. Practice. Envision a glowing bridge before you. Step mentally across it. Trusting invisible planks of love hold firm. Chapter 25. The Resonance of Joy. In the quietest hours before dawn, Millie paced her garden, wrestling with an ancient belief that happiness must be earned. For years she had delayed her smile until achievements warranted celebration. Yet, on this particular morning, watching dewdrops catch the first light, she allowed herself to feel joy without reason. To her amazement, the simple act of choosing happiness began attracting synchronicities like moths to flame. Joy, as the wise have known through ages, operates not as life's reward, but as its engine. It functions as a spiritual mechanism, a frequency that multiplies itself through the law of resonance. When you transmit the vibration of joy, you broadcast on the same wavelength as the universe itself, and what matches manifests. This truth reveals itself in the natural world. Flowers don't wait to bloom until they've proven their worth. Birds don't delay their songs until they've earned the right to sing. All of creation emanates joy as its primary frequency, its first and most potent creative force. Chester, a merchant who had lost his livelihood, discovered this principle unexpectedly. Walking home after closing his shop for the final time, he caught sight of children playing and found himself laughing at their antics. In that moment of spontaneous mirth, he forgot his troubles entirely. Within hours, a chance encounter led to a partnership that would transform his fortunes. His laughter had shifted his frequency, allowing abundance to find him through an entirely unexpected channel. The universe responds not to the weight of your wishes or the merit of your past, but to the frequency you emit in the present moment. Joy acts as a magnet, drawing to you experiences that match its vibration. This is why those who laugh easily seem blessed by good luck. They are simply tuning themselves to fortune's frequency. Consider how water droplets form crystals, not through effort or deserving, but through natural resonance with harmony. Similarly, your joy creates patterns of possibility in the fabric of reality. Each moment of genuine delight sends ripples through the field of potential, arranging circumstances to mirror your inner state. In understanding this, you hold a master key to manifestation. Joy is not the outcome of success, but its catalyst. The universe speaks the language of light-heartedness, and every laugh is a word in that sacred tongue. Practice. Today, make laughter your meditation. Let it bubble up without cause or condition. Whether alone or in company, allow yourself to chuckle softly, even if it feels foreign at first. Observe how the universe begins to echo your mirth through unexpected coincidences and delightful surprises. This is not mere practice, but profound alchemy, transforming the leaden weight of seriousness into the gold of spontaneous creation. Chapter 26. The Message Beneath the Mirror. In the bustling marketplace, Teresa watched as her fellow merchant Maya's stall overflowed with customers while her own stood empty. Each coin that clinked in Maya's purse sent waves of resentment through Teresa's heart. Day after day she found herself counting Maya's successes instead of her own blessings, until the weight of comparison dimmed her spirit's light. One morning, as Teresa polished her unsold wares, an ancient truth stirred within her consciousness. The very qualities that drew her attention to Maya's prosperity, the warmth of her smile, the authenticity of her service, the excellence of her goods, were not arrows of lack piercing Teresa's heart, but rather mirrors reflecting her own untapped potential. The universe speaks through reflection, for what we notice in others illuminates the sleeping possibilities within ourselves. Every trait that awakens strong emotion, whether admiration or irritation, points toward unexpressed aspects of our own nature. This mirror law operates with perfect precision, transforming each moment of comparison into an opportunity for self-discovery. In a nearby village, Gordon faced a similar awakening. For years he had viewed his childhood friend Thomas as a rival in their craft of woodworking. Thomas's elegant designs and devoted clientele felt like personal affronts to Gordon's own journey. Yet one afternoon, as he traced his fingers along the smooth grain of a table he had crafted, wisdom dawned like morning light through workshop windows. In releasing his grip on rivalry, Gordon discovered that Thomas's success had never diminished his own potential. It had only ever highlighted it. The moment he transformed his resentment into appreciation, his own craftsmanship began to flourish in unexpected ways. His hands found new confidence, his designs flowed with fresh inspiration, and his customers responded to the shifted energy he brought to his work. The mirror law teaches that external triggers reflect internal treasures awaiting recognition. When we resist these reflections, we reject the very gifts they offer. But when we embrace them as divine messaging, each moment of comparison becomes a sacred invitation to grow. Through contemplation, Teresa came to understand that Maya's prosperity wasn't a reminder of what she lacked, but rather a preview of what she could become. Her perspective shifted from rivalry to revelation, and with it, her energy transformed from resistance to resonance. The practice. As you move through your day, pause when envy arises. Transform each comparison into this gentle affirmation. That possibility exists for me too. Feel how this simple shift dissolves tension into gratitude, revealing the golden opportunity hidden within every reflection. Chapter 27. Aligning Body and Frequency. In the mountain village of Shen, Eleanor moved through her days like a shadow of herself. Though blessed with abundance, her spirit felt hollow, her body heavy with unexplained exhaustion. No matter how many goals she achieved or duties she fulfilled, vitality eluded her grasp. One morning, as she forced herself through another dawn ritual, her limbs trembled in protest. In that moment of weakness, a strange wisdom surfaced. Her body was speaking, and she had long ignored its voice. The physical vessel holds ancient knowing. It serves as an instrument of divine intelligence, translating universal frequency into tangible sensation. When you override its signals, you dampen your capacity to receive higher guidance. Your body operates as a sacred broadcasting tower, continuously exchanging information with the cosmos. Its sensations are not mere biological responses, but messages encoded in physical form. Fatigue signals misalignment with natural rhythm. Pain indicates resistance to flow. Tension reveals where energy seeks release. Just as a radio requires precise tuning to receive clear transmission, your physical form requires careful calibration. Rest is not laziness. It is essential maintenance of your receiving equipment. Movement is not mere exercise. It is realignment of your energetic antenna. Lloyd, a merchant known for his relentless drive, discovered this truth when illness forced him to pause. Initially, he cursed the weakness that kept him bedridden. But as he surrendered to his body's timing, he noticed his intuition sharpening. Ideas flowed with less effort. Opportunities appeared without strain. His restored vigor carried a different quality, not forced, but flowing from deep alignment. The body's wisdom precedes thought. It knows what the mind often denies: when to advance, when to retreat, when to persist, when to yield. Its signals arrive as whispers before they become shouts. Learning its language allows you to navigate by feel rather than force. Eleanor began honoring her body's messages. She rested when weary instead of pushing through. She moved when energy rose rather than following rigid schedules. Gradually, her natural rhythm emerged from beneath years of override. Her work became more effective, though she worked less. Her presence grew stronger, though she strived less. The physical form is your first temple, the sacred space where spirit meets matter. Treat it with reverence. Listen to its counsel. Allow its natural intelligence to guide your timing and pace. Your body is not separate from your spiritual receiver. It is an integral part of your divine antenna system. As you lay down to sleep tonight, place your hands over your heart. Feel the warm pulse of life beneath your palms. Whisper words of gratitude to every cell that serves your earthly journey. Thank your body for its faithful transmission of wisdom. This simple practice of acknowledgement strengthens the bond between physical and spiritual awareness, upgrading your vessel's receptivity to golden signals while you rest. Chapter 28. When Doubt Becomes Data. In a small village among rolling hills, Ruth spent her days in torment, questioning whether her spiritual practice held any real power. Each morning she would sit in meditation, only to be plagued by waves of doubt that left her feeling disconnected and ashamed. "Perhaps I'm not meant for this path," she would whisper to herself, believing her uncertainty marked her as unworthy. The more Ruth tried to banish her doubts, the stronger they grew, until one day she encountered an ancient text hidden in her grandmother's trunk. Its weathered chapters spoke of doubt not as an enemy, but as a sacred messenger, a natural calibration of the soul's instrument. Through the teachings, Ruth discovered that doubt serves as the universe's tuning fork, helping to refine belief through contrast. Just as a musician must hear discord to find perfect pitch, the spiritual seeker requires moments of uncertainty to sharpen their faith. These moments of questioning aren't flaws in the journey, but essential markers of growth. This truth found living proof in Martin, a merchant who had once struggled with similar fears. During his darkest period of questioning, rather than fighting against his doubts, he began to welcome them as gentle inquiries from his higher self. When uncertainty arose about a business decision, instead of freezing in fear, he would ask, "What deeper wisdom is this doubt revealing?" Through this practice, Martin noticed something remarkable. His moments of greatest uncertainty often preceded his most significant breakthroughs. The very questions that once paralyzed him became doorways to deeper understanding. His business flourished not in spite of his doubts, but because of how they refined his intuition. The universal law works through this same principle of contrast and calibration. Each doubt you experience isn't a sign of weakness, but a sophisticated feedback mechanism, helping you fine-tune your connection to truth. Like a radio seeking perfect clarity, these moments of static help locate the clearest signal. Think of doubt as the universe's diagnostic tool, revealing precisely which beliefs require strengthening or adjustment. When uncertainty arises, it highlights the very areas where your understanding is ready to expand. This is why the wisest teachers throughout history have welcomed questioning minds. They recognize doubt's role in deepening wisdom. Your moments of uncertainty aren't failures of faith, but invitations to greater clarity. They serve as precise instruments, pointing exactly where your spiritual growth seeks to unfold. By embracing doubt as a teacher rather than an adversary, you transform what once felt like weakness into a powerful tool for spiritual refinement. The practice. Next time you doubt, ask, "What belief is this tuning me toward?" Even uncertainty obeys purpose. Chapter 29. The Infinite Echo. Along a quiet street lined with flowering trees, Dolores paused each morning to appreciate the simple beauty surrounding her. At first, this practice seemed modest, a gentle pause to notice sunlight filtering through leaves, the sound of birds greeting dawn, the fresh scent of morning air. Yet something extraordinary began to unfold. Each expression of thanks seemed to ripple outward, returning to her life in unexpected ways. When she appreciated the neighborhood flowers, a stranger would offer her a bouquet. After silently blessing the bird's song, melodies of opportunity would find their way to her throughout the day. The universe, she discovered, operates as an infinite echo chamber, every thought reverberating back with perfect precision. This ancient truth reveals itself through the law of resonance. Just as a tuning fork's vibration causes another to sing in harmony, your frequency of appreciation sets cosmic forces into synchronized motion. Each grateful thought sends a signal that multiplies, gathering matching experiences as it travels through the fabric of creation. Victor, a lonely shopkeeper, stumbled upon this wisdom during his darkest hour. Rather than dwelling on his isolation, he began expressing genuine appreciation for each customer who entered his store. He offered kind words, remembered names, celebrated their small victories. Soon his shop transformed into a beloved community hub. The compassion he radiated returned amplified, not through conscious effort, but through the natural law of energetic echo. The universe never speaks in single notes, but in harmonious chords. Your gratitude creates a vibrational signature that reality must match. This isn't magical thinking, but metaphysical law, like attracts like with mathematical precision. When you transmit appreciation, you tune your entire field to receive more experiences worthy of thanks. This principle operates with such consistency that it forms the foundation of manifestation. Each thankful thought sends ripples through the quantum field, organizing particles of possibility into patterns that mirror your recognition of good. Your appreciation becomes a magnetic force, drawing more reasons for gratitude into your sphere of experience. The key lies not in the size of your thanks, but in its sincerity. A single moment of genuine appreciation carries more creative power than hours of forced positivity. The universe responds not to quantity but to the quality of your resonance, the pure tone of authentic gratitude. Reality itself is responsive resonance, a living echo chamber waiting to amplify whatever frequency you choose to broadcast. When you understand this, gratitude becomes more than a practice. It becomes a conscious participation in the creative principle of existence. The practice. Whisper one sincere thank you to existence. Watch the echo arrive, disguised as tomorrow's grace. Chapter 30. The Golden Signal. In a small cottage overlooking the sea, May spent years searching for divine signals in distant horizons. She collected books of prophecy, consulted oracles, and mapped celestial patterns, convinced that wisdom must descend from above. Yet one morning, as sunlight streamed through her window, she paused her desperate seeking and felt a familiar warmth bloom within her chest. In that moment of surrender, she recognized the golden pulse had always emanated from her own heart. The universe speaks through the language of remembrance. Its guidance doesn't arrive like lightning from clear skies. It emerges like dawn, a gradual illumination of what was always present. When you align with this truth, you discover that every synchronicity, every moment of perfect timing, every miracle flows from the wellspring of your own awakened consciousness. Thomas, a mathematician, spent decades trying to calculate the probability of meaningful coincidence. His formulas grew increasingly complex as he attempted to predict when and how the universe might intervene in human affairs. One day, while walking through an autumn forest, he stopped analyzing and simply listened to the rustling leaves. In that instant, he understood. The cosmic dance requires no computation. When we attune to our inner knowing, reality naturally orchestrates itself around our clarity. This is the deepest mystery and the simplest truth. The golden signal is not a transmission to be captured, but a resonance to be remembered. Like a tuning fork that hums at perfect pitch, your consciousness already vibrates in harmony with universal intelligence. Every time you choose love over fear, gratitude over complaint, or presence over distraction, you amplify this natural frequency. The universe doesn't need to send you messages because you are the message. The signs you seek have never been separate from your own awareness. Each synchronicity reflects your internal alignment. Each answered prayer echoes the faith already alive within you. Each miracle mirrors the magic you hold in your heart. When you resonate at love's frequency, reality cannot help but respond with a cosmic yes. This revelation transforms seeking into recognition. No longer must you scan the heavens for approval or search ancient texts for permission to shine. The golden light of guidance glows steadily in your own being, waiting only for you to remember its presence. Inhale softly and say inwardly, "My time is now." Feel golden light ripple outward infinitely. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. You have reached the frequency that drew this book to you. The golden signal is not an event you wait for. It is the vibration you have become. Every story has revealed that readiness is the only passageway between wanting and receiving. The timing of this encounter proves it. You met this message precisely when your awareness tuned to its wavelength. The wisdom you've uncovered was never hidden. It resonated within you, waiting for recognition. Each chapter's teachings were mirrors reflecting your innate knowing. The parables showed you what your soul already understood, that divine timing moves through you, not toward you. Your journey through these chapters was not about learning, but remembering. And now, as your energy synchronizes with abundance, guidance, and peace, you no longer need to search for signs. You are the sign. Wherever you walk, meaning follows. The universe now speaks through your presence, and those who are ready will feel it as you once did, at the exact moment they need it most. This is the truth that has whispered to you since the beginning. You were never separate from the source of guidance. The golden signal flows through your being as naturally as breath. Every heartbeat broadcasts this frequency. Every step anchors this light into form. Your time is not someday. It is perpetually now. The search ends where it began, in the quiet certainty that you are, and have always been, the channel through which infinite wisdom flows. Let this knowing settle into your cells. The golden signal is not your destination. It is your nature.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.